This is the first World Cup of the end of the World Cups, a tournament where the voice that has narrated football across Latin America for 26 years, the iconic sound that tens of millions of fans from every corner of the continent have heard calling unforgettable goals at Champions League finals, World Cups, and Copa Americas, has delivered a message that lands harder than any goal call he has ever made. Fernando Palomo, ESPN's lead Spanish-language play-by-play commentator, is not a pundit chasing controversy or a columnist hunting clicks. He is a respected professional broadcaster who has spent more than 3 decades building a reputation for fairness, passion, and a genuine love for the beautiful game. And this week, while covering the 2026 World Cup for ESPN, he said words that have shaken the football world. He declared that they are squeezing the cow so hard that they are going to leave it with no milk, turning everything into a relentless money-making machine and making all of us willing participants in it, consciously accepting anything just for the sake of a World Cup. He went even further, observing that the more authoritarian the governments of the host countries, the more beneficial it is for the owners of the event, because processes move faster without so many requirements and without so much transparency. When a man of Palomo's stature and integrity makes that statement live during the tournament, he is paid to cover, calling out the relationship between FIFA and authoritarian governance as a feature rather than a bug. It is not a throwaway comment, but a deeply considered conclusion from someone who has watched the sport for 30 years and felt it needed to be said out loud. Telesur published it with the headline, "Fernando Palomo denounces the commercial exploitation of football." Infobay picked it up, and social media across Latin America has been buzzing with it all morning because the cow metaphor perfectly captures what millions of football fans worldwide have been feeling without quite finding the words for it. The cow is football itself, the sport that people in Dakar and Bogota, Jakarta and Accra, Madrid and beyond have built their emotional lives around, the shared passion that connects fans across borders and cultures. The milk is the atmosphere, the access, the connection, and the feeling that the World Cup belongs to you even if you are watching from a living room 10,000 kilometers away, because the sport has always found ways to include you and make you part of something larger than your own circumstances. The squeezing is everything we have witnessed over the past 6 months. The dynamic pricing model that raised ticket costs by 34% between October and April before being quietly reversed in June. The 70% hotel block cancellations that left host cities holding the bill for an event that delivered only a fraction of its promised economic windfall. The ban list of 39 countries whose nationals could not attend. The heartbreaking scenes of referees like Omar Artan, who spent 3 years preparing only to be turned away at Miami airport after 11 hours of travel, while FIFA repeatedly stated, "We are not involved." The final tickets listed at $32,970 on FIFA's own platform, with Infantino joking about delivering a hot dog to anyone who paid that price. The mandatory hydration breaks first announced in meetings with television executives as a commercial advertising window, and FIFA generating $11 billion from the tournament while contributing nothing toward the $48 million transport bill in New Jersey, nothing toward security costs in host cities, and nothing toward fan festivals that city after city had to cancel because they could not afford them under FIFA's restrictive commercial framework. Palomo is right about the cow, and even more right about the uncomfortable truth that we fans have become participants in this system, still watching, still sharing group stage predictions, still celebrating goals even after seeing the ticket prices, the visa denials, the empty sections in Guadalajara, and the referees turned away at borders, because FIFA knows the football is good enough, the World Cup is important enough, and the love for the sport runs deep enough that people will keep coming back, and that unconditional commitment is exactly what makes the squeezing possible and what allows it to intensify every 4 years. The numbers tell the story clearly. FIFA projects $11 billion in revenue for 2026 compared to roughly $7.5 billion in Qatar 2022 and $6.1 billion in Russia 2018, with prize money at $1 billion, just 9% of the total, leaving nearly $10 billion with FIFA for development programs, operational costs, reserves, and leadership salaries, including Infantino's reported $4 million annually, while 11 American host cities face a collective shortfall of at least $250 million, bearing the costs of security, transport, and infrastructure, with none of the direct commercial revenue. Looking across recent hosts, Russia in 2018, Qatar in 2022, the United States as co-host in 2026, and Saudi Arabia awarded 2034, the pattern is unmistakable. FIFA benefits when host governments can deliver demands quickly with minimal friction, limited transparency, and little interference from independent regulators, opposition parties, free press, or judicial review. Palomo is making a structural observation, not a partisan one, highlighting how the system rewards environments where commercial frameworks can be imposed without challenge. This is not an immediate collapse. The matches are thrilling. Argentina are defending champions with Messi on the pitch creating magic. France remain favorites. Brazil are navigating Neymar's fitness, and England continue their journey. But Palomo's long-term fear is real. If the squeezing continues, the fans who organize their lives around the sport, who save for years to travel, who treat the World Cup as a shared human experience rather than a premium product, may eventually feel priced out and locked out so often that they redirect their love elsewhere. And when that milk finally runs dry, the sport will lose the very soul that made it global. Viewership remains strong now, and the football still produces transcendent stories, but a voice trusted by tens of millions across an entire continent has named the change that needed naming after 30 years of watching the highs and lows. So the question is whether Fernando Palomo, with his 26 years of broadcasting experience, is right that this marks the beginning of the end of the World Cups as we knew them, whether the squeezing has already gone too far, or whether the love for football is unconditional enough to survive whatever FIFA throws at it. What would FIFA have to do before you personally stopped watching the World Cup, raise final tickets to $50,000, fill every match with endless commercial hydration breaks, turn the entire tournament into an event only for elites, or something even more extreme? This World Cup is not just about matches and goals. It is about the battle for football's soul, and every fan has a role to play in deciding whether we save the beautiful game or let the machine keep squeezing until there is nothing left. The moment when Messi dribbled through midfield in classic fashion, silencing the stadium before the world erupted in celebration, reminds us why we love this sport. Yet alongside that magic, Palomo's words echo, urging us to reflect on how much more we are willing to accept before the cow runs dry. Football has always been more than a game. It is the passion of childhood street matches, the excitement on every TV screen, the celebrations with friends that erase borders and connect cultures. And now that very essence is under threat from commercialization that risks turning it into just another profit-driven product. But there is still hope if fans awaken, raise their voices, demand change, and protect the spirit that has given us so much joy for generations. This long flowing reflection captures the depth of emotion, the verifiable facts, the structural critique, and the personal call to action that Palomo's statement has sparked, inviting every viewer to comment on what their breaking point would be, to like and subscribe for daily coverage all the way to July 19th, and to join the conversation about preserving the game we all love before it is too late, because the cow is still giving milk, but the squeezing must stop if we want the beautiful game to thrive for our children and for the fans of the future who deserve the same inclusive, passionate, unforgettable experience that we grew up cherishing.